So I'm getting you ready for a test. It's not tomorrow. It's the next day. And I sent you an email about it, and hopefully you got that. It was just to be reminding everybody, hey, this is a big couple days because the first test, the serious test, is on Wednesday. So here's an example of something we'd expect you to be able to do. If I told you f of x was like 2x minus 8, you should be able to tell me what f of 3 is, and more complicated, you should be able to tell me f of n plus 1. Let's start with those. That's just evaluating functions. You're sticking a number in a function. Are you sticking n plus 1 in the function? Now, we have 2 days to review, so we're going to play a little game today. I'm just trying to get your brain and head in the game first before we start the game. And then tomorrow is more of a traditional review day. All right, to start with here, when you stuck a 3 in this, I just put it here, and then I got to know what to write. Well, f of 3 is f of 3. That's just labeling it. That's 6 minus 8, which is negative 2. Raise your hand if you had negative 2. Awesome. The next one, I would personally just write the equation 2x minus 8, and then I would go, oh yeah, I need to put in this in here. So I would erase this, put a parentheses, because parentheses matter, especially the harder your math classes get, the more important those parentheses are. Because then you distribute this, and it'll be 2n plus 2 minus 8, and of course you can simplify those. 2n minus 6. Raise your hand if you had 2n minus 6. Okay, good. Now, what if the chart looks like this? F of x is, and g of x is, and, oh yeah, x is. Don't have to copy this chart. Please don't copy the chart. It'll just waste too much time. But if x is 0, 1, and 2, and f of x is 1, 3, and 7, and g of x is 0, 1, and 8, don't copy this chart down. But please do figure out what's f of 1. Be careful. Some kids mess this up. What's f of 1? Now, one of the things I have found that really helps on this is to ask yourself, did I just tell you the x, or did I just tell you the y? Because I must have told you one of them. When I said f of 1, didn't I just tell you the x was 1? Yeah. Now, some people are like, duh, it's right here. No, it's not. That's not it. The x is 1. See, look, the x is 1. So I use the f of x and I use the 1. So here's the f of x. And I use the x is 1. And together the answer comes out to 3. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Awesome. Then we can go the other way where I'm not telling you x. I'm telling you f of x is 3. Did I tell you the x? No. I told you the f of x, which is like the y. And so basically I said, y is 3. And you're supposed to go, oh, so you want the x? X is what? 1, correct. All right. Then there was the most complicated kind. And I said, well, only 2 kids got it right the first time. And I gave you a way to do it. The research shows that I should let you struggle with this for a minute before I tell you what to do. Okay, if I were doing it, I'd scribble this out. And I'd go f of something must be 7. Oh, this is where the y goes. So basically, they told me y was 7. and I go look at the y was 7, and then I go, oh, so it kind of must be related to this too. F of 2 is 7. Look at how that's a fact. Like f of 2 is 7, and it's a particularly good fact because now you can set those two equal. 2x plus 3 must be equal to that, 2. And then I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. 2x equals negative 1. X equals negative 1/2. Who got that one right just now? That's not many people. I think you forgot how to do those. So, do you get that you need to find a fact that goes right underneath this, and then f of 2 was 7. I had to look. F of 2 was 7, and that was a fact I wrote right here. And then you can set these equal and solve. All right, I need to do another one like that. I'm going to move the chart to the bottom and put the problem on the top. This time I'm going to say g, notice I changed functions, of 2x plus 1. Again, I'm just going to scribble that out to start with. Equals 0. Right underneath it, put a fact that's true off the chart. G of what is 0? G of 0 is 0. How many of you knew that? Okay, good. Then it's an equation, and those have to be equal. And some people just go, oh, so it's 0. No, 2x plus 1 equals 0, and you solve it. 2x plus 1 needs to equal 0. The answer is not 0. Subtract 1, 2x equals negative 1, divide by 2, x equals negative 1/2. Raise your hand if you had negative 1/2. Okay, awesome. That got it up to almost everybody getting it right. And that is the hardest one. Is that a question? Not a question. Okay, you just had your hand like this. So, okay. All right, so now we are going to go and make a bingo card just to make it more fun. So I'm going to hand out a bingo sheet, and what you need to do is go into Schoology and find the thing called bingo answers. See, the answers are going to be filled in on this bingo card that's blank. I'm handing you a blank one. You're going to fill in answers. Don't just fill them in like exactly in the right order. Kind of jumble them around. Make your bingo card different than the kid next to you. So fill in all 25 boxes except the free space with randomly chosen answers off of the answer bank. I promise that the answers will only be things from the answer bank, so only pick those numbers. You guys run one short? Okay, here.
I think we're
Too short? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Papers are sticking together worse than usual. So again, you're looking at the answer key. You're just filling them in anywhere you want. Remember, you're not picking random numbers. You're taking answers, because otherwise your number will never get called. It's not on the answer. Pick answers that are on the answer key, stick them randomly onto the bingo card. And then I will read you off the questions. You'll do them, and you'll get an answer. I will too. And then if you end up getting a bingo, I do have a fabulous prize. Honestly, this is way above average price. Bag of Lucky Charms marshmallows.
Whole bag.
The whole bag. Yeah. Because I'm not allowed to hand them out individually, but I can hand out an individually wrapped thing when that's wrapped. So there you go. Okay, now, if we have two winners, then those kids will have to split the bag. I don't have enough bags of these things to give out multiple bags. Okay? All right. So, your sheet. Make sure there's an answer in every spot. And there's no changing your answers from this moment on, whenever you've got the answers in there. All right. If you see the kid next to you erasing any of his bingo answers, then you have every reason to call him out, because, like, you can't change the answers because you want marshmallows. That's really stupid. I'm cheating. Okay, y'all got your sheet filled out with an answer in every box. Getting close. All right, I need to give another couple of minutes for kids to fill in their sheet. Some people are being slow and meticulous. All right, in a moment, I need a report if there's any kids that are still finishing. So I want you to look at the person I usually pair you with, rows 1 and 2, rows 3 and 4. You guys is the person in front or back of you, and verify there's no blank spots. Are you done in the back corner yet? Okay. All right, then it appears that we can begin. So, I think you probably know how bingo works, but if you don't, I'm not going to be like in the old folks' home where I'll be reading like B6. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put a question on the board, and you'll get an answer. And let's say that you think the answer to the question is 10. And you look on your card, and 10 isn't on your card. Well, there's two possibilities. You didn't choose 10, and it was like in the answer choices, but you just didn't pick it. You know what I mean? Like, because there's not an equal number of answer choices in blanks. Or it's also possible you just messed up and the answer isn't 10. You know what I mean? All right. I will be saying the answers, but not obviously as we go for each problem. Now, I will be giving a little bit of help, but I won't tell the final answers for each question until the end. And at the end, if somebody says, hey, I got bingo, we'll be verifying their answers, and we'll see if all of their answers are accurate answers. Okay. So, here we go. Question. Now, you're going to need a blank notability doc to do the practice problems on. If you don't have your iPad, you can use the back side of the bingo sheet. Or if you just prefer paper, you can use the back side of the bingo sheet. Okay? And here is your first question. There's only one set of functions, right? Find f of 12. So you go look at the questions. On the answer sheet, there was a set of functions, right? I think I can display this for you. Give me just a second to put it on the video. Okay, so there we go. There is our first question, is f of 12. Got your answer? So I'm just gonna do just this one because it's a super simple one and you probably would have had this right anyways. But if you put in a 12 here, you're gonna have square root of 9, which is 3 plus 2 is 5. So you guys all know the answer is 5, right? So then the only question is whether you put 5 on your sheet. If you did, circle it and you're on your way to bingo. Now, while I help this teacher back there, I am going to give you problem 2. There is problem 2. Figure out that answer. And I'm going to pause for a second, and I'll be right back. I want to set up a scenario where you're like paranoid to talk to the kid next to you. If you want to talk to the kid next to you, you want to compare answers, you can, but you can't like make them tell you what they think it is. All right. So, you done with g of -1? You got an answer? All right. Moving on. F of 3 minus 5 in this picture. F of 3 minus 5. Hopefully you know what to start with, and then find f of that. Now, like I said before, I'm going to sometimes give a little help, but I'm not going to give the answers. On this one, did you know that you were supposed to do f of -2? Yeah, you're not like distributing the f. Some kids think that, but you're not. You're doing, 3 minus 5 is -2, f of -2. And then you ask yourself, did I give you the x or did I give you the y? And you got to figure out what the other one is. Okay, moving on. We're already done with that one. If you couldn't find it, you didn't have enough time, then you didn't know how to do it, unfortunately. I don't really want to give these numbers, but this is the next one. If I were you, as soon as I saw f of 5, I would go over to the chart and figure out what that is. So again, I get the sense that some people might not know how to do this, so I'm going to start it. I won't give the answer, but you'd start by saying f of 5. Did they tell me the x or did they tell me the y? They told me the x. X is 5. I know that that's the x spot, so they must be saying that x is 5. Well, x is 5 is right here, and of course there's no point there, but I follow it down and I see an answer down there of -4. So that goes here. And it's in these bars, which hopefully you know means absolute values, and hopefully you know what to do. And then you'd have to finish it by figuring out the rest of the problem and putting it all together. Pause for a second, give you a little more time. I'm just going to go back through a couple more. We already did this one, didn't we? 2 plus 2 root 3 was this one. 2 plus 2 root 3. Okay, so now, read me all of your answers that were correct.
7,
Yep.
15, 2 plus 2.
Wait a little slower. 11 was correct.
7,
15 was correct. What else?
2 plus 2 root 3.
2 plus 2 root 3 was correct.
2 plus 2i.
Correct.
0.
The answer is 0? Was there one that had an answer of 0?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, cool. Congratulations. Other player?
0,
Yep.
5,
Yep.
4,
Yep.
7,
Yep.
15.
Yep. All right, cool. You two come on up and collect. And I don't want to keep on going. I think you've got the idea. And now I want to give you a little bit of homework you can do to practice for the test. So would you please look on Schoology for, back in the Schoology folder, and if there's something else there already, awesome. Otherwise, I will be publishing it soon. This is going to begin the work time, so you may take out your phones at this time if you wish, while you're waiting for me to finish up. Okay, we verified that kid did have a win, but now we are continuing. We're going to try sticking -1 into the f function and seeing what we get. Now I need to know. This one's, if you know what's going on, this one's a little weird. So my question is, does anybody think they see it on their bingo card? Okay, how about this? Does the answer involve an I? And we didn't talk about that very much, so I'm going to take this moment to talk about that. I know for some of you, they'll still have to do this problem, but this might give them an advantage that they didn't have, and maybe you did, but I apologize. I got to teach kids math. You got to know that the square root of negative 25 is imaginary, and like you can't in this level of class just say no solution. You got to be able to go to the next level, which is to say, I can break that up into square root of 25, of course, and the square root of negative 1. Because see, if I multiply those, I get negative 25. And that one's I, and that one's 5, so that's 5I. Now, something like that happens on this problem, and so you have to give your answer with an I in it. Okay? All right, moving on. On this one, the answer was, this was like a little help. F of negative 1 is 2 plus 2I is correct.
That was one of them.
All right, hold on just a second. Toughest kind. At the first time we did one of these today, almost nobody got it right. Even the second time with coaching, only half the kids got it right. So this is a tough one. Ask yourself, did they tell you X? No, the whole point is find X. So they must have told you Y. My pro tip has always been to write something underneath it that's true. All right, moving on. On this one, f of x plus 11, that one was negative 6 was the answer. And this one, hardest kind again. Pro tip, f of something is 5. Find f of something is 5. Maybe it's f of 2 is 5. It's not, but... Gotta use a pass though. Gotta show me a pass that approved you going at the end what your answers were. On this one, it was 24. If you had 24 on this one, yay. Next one. Go ahead.
Bingo.
Ooh, we have a bingo called. Now, I'll give people a minute to just finish this problem, and if anybody gets it but gets it late, they'll still qualify to win. There'll be a tie. So did anybody just realize the answer for this? I'll give you another 30 seconds. All right. What? Say that again?
I have bingo.
All right. So, who are the two people that have claimed bingo at this point? Raise your hands high. You two. All right. So, I'm going to do this different than last time. I want you to, I'm going to ask you guys different questions. To begin with, both of you at the same time, I'm going to ask you for the question that is on the screen, because that must have been what gave you bingo, right? And so, say it when I hit 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 15 is correct. Okay, good. And this one was 15 I got a little math help here. K of 2 was K of 2, and that was negative 2. And so then this part's negative 2. And now you're doing K of negative 2. And K of negative 2 goes back to here's K, and here's negative 2, and that is 15. So 15 was correct. Now I'm going to, instead of going through all of those questions before, I am going to just tell you the answers for each of these previous questions, and you tell